Welcome to episode 249 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here as always. And for the first time in our illustrious history here, we've got a podcast 2 days in a row.
I know. What's up with that?
I'll tell you what's up with that. It's Rocklahoma announcement week.
A lot of things going on, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we put in the effort. It's all good.
Yeah. There's been many weeks where we had 2 a week, but we've never done them back-to-back days, you know. I want to spread that out a little bit.
That's okay.
Just yesterday morning, Tuesday morning, we had Doug Burgess for the announcement of all the bands playing the Roadhouse stage that he booked. And then, of course, this morning, Rocklahoma released the full lineup. So that's what we're here to talk about.
Here we are.
Yeah. So real quick, this podcast is always sponsored by Doug Burgess and DEB Concerts, as well as MedFarm. And DEB Concerts, besides booking this stage at Rocklahoma, which we'll get into all that here in just a bit, if you didn't happen to hear the episode yesterday, they also have a big show coming to the Ideal Barn on February 22nd, which is Buck Cherry. And very cool. They've been booking a lot of acts there at the Ideal Ballroom. Bands that have played Rocklahoma in the past, like Last in Line, Sebastian Bach, Tom Kiefer, Warrant, Winger, Beasto Blanco, Saxon, and Buck Cherry is no different. They've played Rocklahoma as well. So they'll be out there February 22nd with Fist of Rage and Grind opening up, which is very awesome because both those bands are great.
Hell of a show.
And also, if you want to hit up Fist of Rage or Grind if you're in this area, even if you're not in this area, if you hit them up on Facebook, send them a message, buy your tickets directly from the band. You help the band out and you save yourself some money. On this ticket, it's actually like $10, I believe. So hit them up, buy your tickets that way. Eddie Trunk will be hosting this show. You don't want to miss it.
Exactly.
Also, MedFarm is a dispensary located right here in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, at 24683 East Highway 51. Believe it or not, I'm going to be transparent. That's the first time I had that memorized after all this time. I always have that pulled up so I can say what it is, and this time I just spouted it off.
You just had it. You're ready to go. I like it.
But MedFarm has a huge selection. If you get in there and tell them that you heard about them from us, mention our name, Thunder Underground, they will give you 10% off your order, which is very cool.
Of course.
They got a big selection. They're always running other specials. So if you follow them on their social medias, Instagram is @MedFarmOK. And Facebook is MedFarm. That's PHARM. Their website is medfarmok.com. They've got a doctor on site every Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. if you need to get a medical card. And the best part about MedFarm, which blows away the competition, is that they are locally owned, family owned, Oklahoma owned, which is locally owned, obviously, and 30% of their profits are going to help build no-kill animal shelters. Their slogan is Cannabis with a Cause because that's what they're doing. They've already got a land and a building purchased and they're working on getting that set up. So that is a huge thing and we're proud to support them as they support us.
Of course.
So check out MedFarm and tell them we sent you. And all right, we mentioned right there that Eddie Trunk is hosting Buck Cherry. He's also hosting Rocklahoma for the 14th time, I guess. I think he's hosted every single one of them.
Yeah.
And
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. This Rocklahoma 2020 will be the 14th edition.
Yes.
Started in 2007. First 3 years were all 80s centric, basically. And then in 2010, when AEG took over, it became more of a mainstream festival.
Yeah.
And ever since then, they've had a few of the, as Doug mentioned on yesterday's podcast, what they call them now, the Heritage Acts.
Heritage Acts.
They've got those sprinkled throughout. This year's no different. They're all on the Roadhouse stage this year, I believe. Jason here and myself, we've been to the first 13 of these in a row.
Every one of them.
Yeah. So that is very cool. We always make the trip because if you're not from this area, it's our local festival to us. It's only about 45 minutes to an hour from where both of us live. So it's an easy trip right over there to Pryor, Oklahoma. If you're not from the area, it's just out in the middle of nowhere kind of.
Yeah.
Pryor is a decent sized town, but it's not a city by any means. And it's a good 30, 40 minutes from the edge of Tulsa there. And the event itself sets 3 or 4 miles past Pryor, actually.
Yeah.
Just kind of out, and it was like formerly farmland, and the original owners who still own it to this day set it up out there, and they've got a great facility. It's got a massive campground areas, which is a huge thing that sets it apart from a lot of the other rock festivals around the country. There's a few of them that have camping. A lot of them don't. But Rocklahoma has camping down pat, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, this is a whole experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole, you live it for like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all encompassing, really.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, we've always said. You see a lot of people in social media groups talking about it too. It's one of those things that you go out there, you camp, you get to know people. You camp by the same people every year because you can reserve the same spots. You sit by the same people in your reserved seats. If you have the VIP section, that kind of thing. GA, it doesn't matter, campgrounds as well. You can reserve the same spots, and then you end up getting to know all these people. So you go out there, like Jason said, 4 or 5 days, and it's just a big party.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, so even if there's 50 bands on the lineup and you only like 12 of them, you're still going to have a great time.
Yeah.
This could be, I guess, an EDM festival. I'd probably still have a great time because of all the people that we know out there and have got to know throughout the last over a decade, basically.
That's right.
I mean, we're just getting to the point on this one because we just had an episode yesterday.
Yeah.
But if you didn't listen to that, we got the opportunity to announce some of the bands for Rocklahoma earlier than this lineup that just came out this morning because Doug booked them, like I said, on the Roadhouse stage for the second year in a row. And he announced the entire lineup here on the show, which we talked about on that episode, which featured the pre-party, which features a lot of three, I guess, bands from back in the day, from, what Rocklahoma was kind of built upon, with Hurricane Alice, the Bullet Boys, and Warrant.
Yeah.
All three of those have played at Rocklahoma before, but Bullet Boys and Hurricane Alice, I think, was like the first year.
Yeah.
Warrant was back a couple other times.
Yeah, they've been back a few times.
I don't know that have they been back since it changed AEG?
Didn't they play it once as AEG? I'd have to look back at some of the old posters, but
I thought for the longest time
they played it once again with. I could be wrong though. I'm not sure, but it feels like they did
because it was funny. Right? They played, I believe, the first 3 years, and like all three. They're the only band I think that played all 3 of those years and it was 3 different singers.
Yeah.
Because they had Jamie St. James out there. And then they had their reunion with Jenny Lane. And when they played Rocklahoma with Jenny Lane, it was one of his final shows.
Yeah.
He's had several more shows that summer, but it was just a couple months later that they ended up parting ways with him again.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they had Robert Mason the next year, which, a note for you, if you didn't know, that's actually where they met Robert Mason.
That's right, at Rocklahoma.
Even though they had met him before, Lynch Mob with Robert Mason toured with Warrant back in 92.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where they kind of connected and got the idea to ask him to join.
Yeah.
Because he played out there with his band Big Cock.
You just wanted to say Big Cock.
I saw them on one of the side stages, and they are fucking fantastic.
Right?
If you've never heard of Big Cock, they have several albums, and it's just...
Yeah, go look them up.
If you imagine what a band called Big Cock would sound like in the rock world, that's exactly what they sound like.
Yeah.
So, and hold it, who's the other band that's on the pre-party day?
Yeah. John 5 and the Creatures?
Or no, I meant on the pre-party.
Wow.
I didn't have it put. Paralandra.
Gotcha.
And they also play a second time.
Okay.
On Sunday with with the night that John Five and the Creatures is headlining.
Gotcha.
But we can kind of get to that here in a bit. I guess just going in from top to bottom, we don't know days outside of what Doug told us with the Roadhouse lineup. Because Rocklahoma,
yeah,
which is something I've always found odd, that the majority of festivals, when they release their lineup, it's as soon as they release it, it's broken down by day.
Yeah.
You know as soon as it's released who's playing what day. Rocklahoma puts out the full lineup and then doesn't announce the days until like sometimes is less than a month out.
Yeah, I know.
Which I think's bizarre because I would think they would sell a lot more. Maybe they think they would push more 3-day tickets this way, but I would think they would sell more single-day tickets. Like if you just said, this is the day Slipknot's playing, then they'd have a boost in general admission tickets for that day, you know?
Well, maybe they want you to buy the whole thing all at once.
Yeah.
You know, the whole shebang. I don't know.
That's probably what it is.
You know, who knows the method of their madness.
I mean, it is, monetary-wise, it is a lot better deal.
Yeah.
To buy a 3-day pass than it is to buy a single-day pass for sure. But still, anyway. So right off the bat, the 3 headliners, I mentioned Slipknot, then we've got Five Finger Death Punch and Stained. And what's your instant reaction? It's probably the same as mine. But
I look at it, I look at these things from not a personal one, because that doesn't fucking matter.
Which the first few times we did these reactions, we went totally personal.
We
were
did.
Like, what's the point of this? You know, we're trying to be...
But, you know, as you go on and you kind of realize, you know, really what, you know, what did Doug say the other day? The main demographic's 18 to 35.
Right.
This isn't for me anymore.
Right.
I'm 43. It doesn't fucking matter. You know, as a guy that has, you know, pretty much dedicated, you know, the spare time of his life to rock music since I was, you know, 12.
Right.
You know, I have thoughts, but it doesn't matter because I'm just a fucking nerd. But when you look at, you know, what's best for everybody, what's best for the festival, what brings in the people, and what ultimately brings in the money, because that's what this all is about. And that's solid, you know?
Right.
So I think, you know, I think Five Finger and Slipknot is solid. You know, seems like the other headliner would be a little bigger.
Right.
But again, exactly. I don't know anything, you know.
Well, that's exactly my thoughts. I'm like, I don't like Five Finger Death Punch at all. But they're a legitimate headliner.
Yeah.
So that doesn't matter. It's a solid band that that a lot of people fucking love.
And there's going to be a ton of fucking people that do love them.
Yeah. So
they're going to flock on whatever night they're playing.
So that's perfectly fine. And Slipknot is fucking great.
I'm telling you, what a fucking stage show.
Yeah.
I hope I guess that's what they're going to bring to Rocklahoma. It's insane.
They would have to. It would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's always something going on that stage.
Yeah.
You know, there's always, you know, if you don't want to look at this guy, go look at that guy. Go look at that guy.
And hopefully you like the word fuck.
Yeah.
Or motherfucker. Because Corey Taylor likes those words.
Yes.
Which doesn't bother us. But I've seen Slipknot many times throughout the years, and both of us had the opportunity to see them as recently as this past summer.
Yeah.
We saw them at separate times, but they're fantastic. And it's a legitimate big headliner for Rocklahoma compared to, you know, it's one of the bigger ones they've ever had, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's a good point.
And then you've got the third one, which is Stained, which I also think it's like watching paint dry. It's like listening to paint dry. It's like they should just rename their band Paint Dry. I don't know. But
tell me how you really feel.
But they're a perfect band to be on the bill. It's a rock festival. They're a hard rock band. But I would always think they should be on that second line.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, and I mean, there's been years where there was that year, like 2010 or 11, where Tesla was a headliner.
Yeah.
But Stain's not any bigger than Tesla is when it comes to a draw. They both play the same size venues.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of this logically. Stained hasn't been around a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
You like that pun?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Right? I mean, it's been several years since they played, and now they're on a few of these festivals.
Yeah.
So maybe, like you say, what the fuck do we know? Maybe they're a bigger draw just because they went away for a while.
Yeah. But I do know one thing. Be on your best behavior out there while Stain's playing.
Oh, yeah, don't talk.
Because Aaron Lewis will get on to you.
But my opinion is if this Stain spot had been any of those other bands you see headline a lot of these festivals, Foo Fighters, Leonard Skinner even, Aerosmith, System of a Down, there's a fucking long list. That those three bands then would have been a great solid lineup. Now I just think it's 2 out of 3 that's solid for Rocklahoma.
Yeah.
But again, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing to point out is I think Rocklahoma's always had that one headliner that is kind of out of the blue from other festivals. They've always had, like we mentioned, that word heritage.
Yes.
They've done a lot. They've always most of the time have tended to have a headliner that can fit both the classic rock realm but are still popular to newer, a younger crowd. Like they booked Ozzy last year. He obviously didn't play.
Yeah.
You've had in the past Def Leppard headlining, Motley Crue, ZZ Top. Who am I forgetting? Bands like that have been headliners when Guns N' Roses.
Definitely.
That cross both, the old school Rocklahoma original thing as well as what you got now. And this is kind of the first year that I remember in a while that it doesn't have one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyway, going on to this second list. I mean, the second row here. There's a couple amazing bands. And, I'm not, again, I'm getting into opinions here, but it's a solid list right here.
Uh-huh.
I'll say that then. Anthrax is one of my favorite bands. It's one of your favorite bands.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Alter Bridge is one of the best bands to come along in the past 15 years.
Yeah.
That's a fucking fact. That's not an opinion.
Good they're finally at Rocklahoma. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, it's crazy that all these years they haven't been.
Yeah.
They've all been separately. Creed was there one year. Slash with Miles Kennedy was there.
Yeah.
Actually, it was the same year. Because I remember making jokes like, what if he came out and sang a song with it? But, so, having both those bands there, that's huge for me. Already, now you've got Alter Bridge, Anthrax, and Slipknot, which is an amazing draw to me right there alone. Yeah. Then you've got Hellstorm, which is a great band, but...
Yes.
I mean, we've talked about that in the past. It's kind of like, I liked them a lot when they came out. I kind of got bored with it, but it doesn't matter. They're a solid fucking draw, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I know I think you're kind of the same way.
Yeah, I don't know. I
maybe you like them more now than you used to.
They're always cool to see live.
Yeah. She's phenomenal.
And that last record was really cool. I just don't listen to them a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of indifferent.
Papa Roach is another one of those bands. They've been at Rocklahoma. They're kind of like, people talk about Jackal being there every other year. I'm pretty sure Papa Roach is there every other year as well.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's a band that there was a point where I really liked them. And then I just got really tired of it. Their recent stuff I've heard, I just think's borderline horrible. But they're still a great live band.
Okay.
And it's a solid band that people fucking love. I Prevail's another one of those bands that people love. But that fits that 18 to 35 demographic you talked about. I don't personally care, but it's a solid band for Rocklahoma, right?
That's right.
I'm going to keep saying that over and over, right? Because I feel the same way about the Pretty Reckless and Motionless in White as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't...
They're crowd pleasers, but I don't care about either one of them.
I've seen Pretty Reckless, and I think they're really great live, and I like that their sound is a little bit more... I don't know, organic than a lot of these new bands, and I appreciate that. So that's cool. I don't know anything about Motionless in White, so next, Body Count's gonna be fucking amazing. I mean, fucking hell. Ice-T. I mean, and it's needed. Something like this is needed, especially at Rocklahoma. And that's all I'm going to say about that. You figure out what I'm trying to say there.
Well, there's another band we're going to talk about here in a minute that is even more than that.
You're damn right.
But Body Count is my bucket list of bands.
Yes.
Is right there in the top 5 or 10 bands that I've never seen in my life that I've wanted to for the past going on 30 years. Because they debuted, 29 years ago, 28 years ago?
Much.
I've wanted to see them ever since. In the past several years that they've been consistently playing out again, it just never happened.
Yeah.
So this, to me, of the whole thing, is the number one band on this bill that I'm ready to see.
I bet.
Even, because I love, like I said, Anthrax and Alter Bridge, but I've seen them both multiple times.
Yeah.
So super fucking excited. That was the big, the big one for me to see on there. All right, so now we've got Hollywood Undead, which it's another draw for that younger demographic, which I don't like this band either.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's another one of those. Next.
Hell yeah. I know that your instant reaction is to say next.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of went over this on the best of 2019. I liked these guys when they came out, then I lost interest because I just thought they got really boring and just whatever. But the new album that came out last year was the best work they've ever done, in my opinion, even better than the debut. I saw them live last year. They were fantastic. So,
well, good.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they should run the chorus on this album and then hang it up. Because, this band was kind of built upon Vinnie Paul and Chad Gray. And obviously, they're going to go on. Yeah. But I think this would be, they came back fucking strong. It'd be a fitting way to end it out and then bring back Mudvayne. But, hey, who am I?
Probably not going to happen.
Yeah. That's just wishful thinking.
It's not gonna happen.
We've got Bad Flower. I'm a big fan of this band's album. They came out last year. I saw a couple songs of them live at Kaboo this year, and they were good live.
Cool.
They've got a real 90s alternative vibe to them.
What song do they sing? I get them mixed up with the Glorious Sons.
They had a couple songs that got played a lot. The song Heroin, which is real kind of slow and drony, and it's like I'm trying to remember what the other one. They had another one I think was a little bit even bigger than that, but I forget what it's called.
All right,
you'd probably know it.
What's the OxyContin one or Codone or whatever the fuck? That's the Glorious Sons. Yeah,
that's the Glorious Sons.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, and they were there last year.
Yes. Okay.
Then we've got the I don't know if it's the Who or the Huh. I'm pretty sure I've heard on Sirius pronounced the Who. But that would be weird because we all know that Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend has been around for...
Or the Who.
For 55 years or whatever, or more than that. But if you have not heard this band, this is another one I'm really excited about. They are fantastic. They're from Mongolia. They mix traditional, Mongolian sounds with metal.
That's cool.
You think of, Sepultura, Roots era, but a little bit, different because it's a different culture.
Yeah.
But in what you get kind of from Alien Weaponry, but again, that's in the same, that kind of wheelhouse, but it still sounds different than that. And they've got a song with Jacoby from Papa Roach singing on it with him. And they've got one, I think, with the guy from Ashes to New, or how do you say that?
Okay.
He was actually on the bill here, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, this is a band I think everybody needs to check out, and I think it's one of those bands that people will be talking about afterwards.
Oh, definitely. Kind of like Alien Weaponry.
Right. Then you've got Jelly Roll, which I don't know anything about him, except he's a rapper and he's got face tattoos, and generally when a rapper has face tattoos, they're not that good.
Next.
I'm just making an assumption, I'll give the guy a listen just to find out, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
Then we've got Bad Wolves, which was a surprise to me since they were just there last year.
I know. They're great. We know that. Tommy Vext is a great, a versatile singer, and then he can also squash your brains and do Oblivion at the same time with his fist. Doc Coyle's been on this podcast. We love Bad Wolves, so,
Yeah, this band is filled with several guys that were in other bands that were even a little bit heavier than Bad Wolves.
Yes.
So it's cool to see all these guys, God Forbid, Divine Heresy, Devil Driver.
Yep.
all having success now with Bad Wolves.
Yes, exactly. They've earned it.
And they, we talked about them on our review episode of 2019. I thought they were one of the best bands out there. So don't sleep on these guys if you're not familiar with them.
Yeah, for sure.
And the same goes for the next band, Dirty Honey. Fantastic band.
Good, no frills, riffy, roots rock. Missed them last year. They're back, so this is going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of like Bad Wolves, both these bands are back, so very cool. Then you've got All That Remains, who is back. They haven't been there in a few years, I don't think. They've been out there a couple times.
Okay.
This is their first, they're touring now without guitarist.
Ollie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who of course passed away about a year ago. So, but All That Remains is kind of like with Hell Yeah, lost interest, but their newest album I thought was a return to form. So, yeah, it'd be cool to see them.
Yeah. Then
you've got Ginger, who's kind of like the buzz band as far as like really heavy bands go the past year.
Oh man,
you saw them live.
Yeah, what a show they put on, and man, that girl can sing. She can sing, and then she can do like death metal. It's quite a sight to behold.
Yeah, and the fact she pulls it off live. Flawlessly.
Yeah, I mean that was nuts. And that band is tight as a fucking drum. That's another one. Don't sleep on them. You got to get out to whatever stage they're going to be on. Go see Ginger.
Yeah, if they're on the like side stage, the River Spirit stage or whatever, I bet that'll be a fucking madhouse.
Oh yeah, there'll
cool.
be so many people over there to see them.
Yeah. Then you've got Warrant, who we already mentioned is headlining the pre-party night on the Roadhouse stage, and that's another band that I would tell people do not sleep on. Yeah. Warrant, which sounds weird because, they've been around forever, but a lot of people blow off bands like this when they don't have an original singer. And we've said this countless times throughout the years. You say it.
Robert Mason is one of the best singers around.
Without a doubt.
He'll blow you out of the fucking water. Got to see this guy sing live.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And outside of him, it's all the original living members.
Exactly.
So it's 4 out of the 5. So get over there and check out Warrant. Then you've got Brass Against.
Yes.
Who, when I first saw this on the bill, I thought, is this a misprint? Is that supposed to be Rise Against?
Yeah.
So I Googled Brass Against to see if it was a band, and it was. And found out this is a brass band that does Rage Against the Machine covers. And I think it said, and other protest songs.
Good.
So they basically are a protest group playing brass instruments. So
good.
This is another kind of like you mentioned with Body Count.
Yeah.
This might ruffle the feathers of some of your typical, rednecks, which is great.
I sure the fuck hope it does.
Remember that year, like the second or third Rocklahoma, whenever Queensryche did Operation Mindcrime in its entirety, and then they had some stuff. I don't know if that one of the actors behind him was holding up signs or something or maybe Jeff Tate did that, said something about fuck Bush or something.
Yeah.
And everybody was like pissed off. I'm like, this is amazing.
I know. Or what about when, in 2008 when Living Colour played, and Vernon Reid said something about it was pro-Obama.
Oh, okay.
And
I forgot about that.
And, all these rednecks behind us were fucking booing him and cussing at him. And I'm like, oh yes, that's awesome. Fuck you, rednecks.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying pro this or pro that, but just that it pissed off these idiots.
Yeah,
I loved it.
That's my thing. I'm obviously not going to get a political rant, but I say fuck both sides. But I just think it's great when anyone's getting pissed off because of a musical act. Just cracks me up, and I love it.
Yep, exactly.
So then we've got Bones UK, and I've seen this name a million times. I think they were out there actually a year or two ago.
Really?
But I don't.
Well, if I was worth my salt, I would have researched that, but
we're doing this pretty quick to get this up quick, so
right.
We could figure that out as it gets closer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like that's like I want to feel like that's like a rap rock thing, if I remember right, but don't quote me on that. Then we've got Knock Loose, who is decidedly not a rap rock thing.
Yes.
If you like heavy music, you got to fucking see Knock Loose. I mean,
Yeah.
these guys are hardcore to the fucking ilt, and I've never seen them live, but I've listened to them, and they're fucking great.
Yeah.
So they're the kind of band that, you know, it's an acquired taste because there's a lot of people that won't like them, I don't think. But anyway, then we've got, as we mentioned, John 5 and the Creatures are headlining Sunday night on the Roadhouse stage. That'll be fantastic. John 5's been out there before, obviously, with Rob Zombie
yeah.
as his guitarist. And this is his solo band. He does a lot of great stuff. He's a phenomenal guitarist, so very cool to see him out there. And it kind of throws in a different vibe, too, from some of the other bands you got on the stage over there. Then you've got the Butcher Babies, who... That's the best way to sum that up.
Yep. Okay, From Ashes to New.
It's a big draw, though, so people will love it. A lot of people love this band for some fucked up... I know why they love them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 women in this band that are hotter than shit. And one of them's married to one of the greatest drummers in the world.
Big fucking deal.
But no, that's why people like him.
I know, and it's fucking stupid.
If this was 2 guys singing the same exact shit, they'd be like, well, this band's lame as fuck.
If this is me and you up there, same exact shit, you with tape over your nipples, me, no,
right.
that wouldn't work. I mean, people would hate that. And
yeah,
I
because
don't blame them.
if it was sounded exactly the same, no one would give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. No one, and that's what, it's just, you know, oh, they're so good. No, they're not. And, you know, if you really want, you know, something easy on the eyes with talent, go see Ginger.
Right.
Or whatever. I don't know. That's all subjective, relative anyways. Shouldn't even fucking matter what they look like.
Right.
You know, but, hot chicks with fake basketball titties, let's fucking go insane and go see this shit. You know, I don't know.
Hey, maybe they're playing the same day as Anthrax and Charlie will come out and make their set better.
I don't know.
I don't think he could do that.
I'm not really.
I don't think he could pull that off. I don't think his presence would make it any better.
Like I said, From Ashes to New. What's that? No,
yeah,
I'm
not
trailing off now.
That's just generic metal. Anyway, Dinosaur Pile Up.
God damn.
Dinosaur Pile Up is a band that I've heard a couple songs from on Sirius, and I always meant to dig deeper into it because it's pretty cool stuff. It's almost, you know, groovy kind of, if I remember right, doomy kind of stuff, but more commercialized doomy. And it's been quite a while since I heard them, and I always meant to delve into it, but I just keep forgetting to. I think they were actually there like 2 years ago or a year ago. I don't know.
Well, I like the name.
Yeah. Then you've got Diamante and Goodbye June. And then I'll just move on to the Bullet Boys, who are playing the pre-show, as we already mentioned.
Yes.
I don't think they've been out there since the first year, and I remember they played one of the tent stages back in the day.
Okay.
Remember those?
All right.
I don't even think they played the main stage.
Wow.
I could be wrong, but it was like super late, and I remember seeing them, and that was the point where I hated the Bullet Boys.
Yeah.
And then I saw them live, and I just kind of liked it, and then that's when I turned, because I grew up hating the Bullet Boys. And then seeing them there made me kind of like, okay, I don't hate them anymore.
Yeah.
And then their last couple of albums been great. And we had Mark touring on his podcast, and he was great. So now I love the Bullet Boys.
Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Then you've got Liliac, who will be headlining Friday night on the Roadhouse stage. Another up-and-coming band that's gotten a lot of hype. You know, they've had some viral videos. All siblings. All 5 of them are brothers and sisters, which is a cool concept because you don't see it a lot from heavier bands. So
yeah,
go check them out. Then we've got, I think, pretty much everything else here. Let me scan through this. Is the stuff that we talked about in length. Well, not in length, but we talked about with Doug. On yesterday's episode. Yeah. Every other band will be playing the Roadhouse stage. You've got East Side Gamblers, which features Tony Higbee from Tom Kiefer's band.
That'll be great.
Yeah, he's great. You got Butterside, who we've seen here before. They opened for LA Guns. You've got Hurricane Alice, that's great to see one of the smaller bands from the glam era getting to get a shot out there again. Then we've got our great friends in Fist of Rage, who are fantastic. Very glad they're going to be out there.
Man, that's going to be awesome.
We've got Outlaw Devils, who... If I'm not mistaken, this will be one of their first shows. You know, they're kicking in their shows this summer, so very well could be the first one, but I'm sure they might do something for that. We had 2 of their members on this podcast here just a couple months ago, so go check that one out. Then we've got 90 Pound Wrench, Severmind, who has been on this podcast several times.
Yes, and they'll be on here again.
That's right. We love Severmind. If you're not familiar with them.
Yes, we do.
If you're not familiar with them, check them out. You will love them too, I believe. Then, like I said, all the rest of the bands, Chaotic Resemblance, great band out of Oklahoma City. Or the rest of the bands are bands we already mentioned that'll be playing the Roadhouse stage. Just to bring it back around, what do you... I mean, we didn't really... I mean, we mentioned what we thought about the headliners when we first glanced at it. Yeah. But, like, what do you think as a whole? Do you think it's average? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's...
I think it's good. I mean, I think it's something for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for sure.
I mean, Rocklahoma's always done a good job at that, I think, throughout the years.
It's one of those things that... And we kind of texted back and forth about this earlier today. Or this morning. You see it and you're like, okay, all right. Sometimes you're like, okay, usual suspects. But then when you sit down and you really look at it again and you think about, I'm going to walk up and see this band or whatever, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And to what you were saying about something like Body Count being a bucket list band for you, to, now that we're old fucks, we've been to so many goddamn shows since we were in our teens, for Rocklahoma to still be bringing up a band or two that we've never seen. That's good. That's cool.
Right.
So, I mean, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, my first kind of instinct, like you said, was just kind of like, well, overall, I'm not super excited. But then when I kind of dug back through it, there's several bands on there I love, like Slipknot, Body Count, Alter Bridge, Anthrax, Warrant, Lynch Mob, John 5, and then getting to see Bad Wolves again and see Ginger and The Who, Hell Yeah, Hellstorm, Knock Loose.
Yeah.
And see, All That Remains, all that stuff. I mean, it's solid. And then plus all those bands we mentioned that are that people do love, like Hellstorm, Papa Roach, I Prevail, so on and so on.
The new bands and the other stages, it's where you always find some gems,
Right.
So.
Yeah, some of the best, if you, I think I've said this last year or the year before, but someone forced me to make a top 10 bands I've ever seen throughout the first 13 years of Rocklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 6 or 7 of those slots would be bands that I saw on the Hard Rock stage or...
Yeah, like at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah. I mean, seeing like Scorpion Child and...
Yeah.
First time we saw Sons of Texas, that kind of stuff is just fucking great.
Very memorable. Yeah, I get that.
So, I think this year, it'll, just be another good year. There's nothing... I mean, there's stuff to complain about if you're just bitching and thinking they're going to make the lineup for you.
Yeah.
They're not making it for you. They're not making it for me. They're not making it for everybody that's listening. They're making it for every single person meshed together and averaged out. Right?
Yeah. And then they kind of don't even care about them. They just want to make money.
Right.
And they're making it for money.
Right. Like Doug said on the podcast. Yeah, right?
Yep. That's what it all boils down to.
As it should be. It's not, I mean...
Yeah, true.
Why would someone do this unless they were like a billionaire?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like...
not make money.
Yeah, so you don't like Five Finger Death Punch? Well, fuck you, because there's 50,000 people that do that will show up.
Right.
So, up your ass with that shit.
Yeah.
The almighty dollar, man.
Yep. Well, I mean, there's our instant reaction. This is just going off, instantly finding out, this lineup here like everybody else.
Yep.
As we always do, we'll talk about this leading up because, we've played some of the bands that are playing the Roadhouse stage and probably have hopefully a few surprise interviews for you as well.
That would be awesome.
Talking about the bands that we've had on this podcast before as well. So like I mentioned several times already, if you missed episode 248 with Doug Burgess, besides just that announcement, he goes into a lot of stuff, some behind the scenes stuff, new info about the Roadhouse stage is getting a little bit bigger, moving, that kind of thing. So check that out. We had Doug on about a year ago as well, talking about last year's lineup and whenever all the big changes came. We've had on several of the bands we just mentioned, like Bad Wolves and Warrant, Bullet Boys. You've got tons of stuff you can go look back there. We had on members of Kiss, Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, Shinedown. We recently had on Kenny Hickey from Typo Negative. We had on COC, Clutch, Seven Dust, Megadeth. But yeah, you can check out all our past episodes at soundcloud.com/Thunder-Underground. Give us a like there. Give us a follow wherever you listen to podcasts. You can hear us on Apple Podcasts, Google Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Mixcloud. TheThunderUnderground.com is the website. Follow all our socials there. Subscribe to us on YouTube at The Thunder Underground. We've got a lot of stuff like this, reaction videos, as well as reviews, and other great stuff is coming as well. So be on the lookout here very soon for an episode featuring Tommy from Slumlord Radio, and another episode featuring James Lomenzo from John Fogerty, and formerly of Black Label Society, White Lion, Megadeth, and a huge long list of other acts. That's a very cool one we'll have for you soon, as well as a few other surprises. All right. Well, once again, thank you to DEB Concerts, MedFarm, and until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.